Welcome to Teaching Articulations with Tech. I'm Brian Thompson. I'm really excited to share with you the things I've learned the past few years as I've been teaching my kids to use technology to learn articulations. The things we'll be covering in these lessons are articulations and the brain. How does our brain interpret speech? The definition of articulation and how you can use that to help your kids play better. Assessment with tech. Ideas to efficiently, effectively test articulation. Last, the when, what, and how of teaching articulation. Before we go on with the lesson, I did want to mention one thing. My business, severeband.com. You can buy all of these lessons and the music that accompanies them from severeband.com, or you can email me, Brian at severeband.com. You can also purchase with a purchase order or a credit card right from my website. Check out my latest book, Progressive Musical Studies. There's 50 excerpts of Sousa's music from grade 2 to grade 3 that you can teach your kids musical style from easy to hard. It also works really well for those that need a flex band arrangement. How does our brain interpret articulations and speech? Researchers at the University of California found how the brain interprets speech. They said the key is detecting a rapid increase in volume that occurs at the beginning of the vowel sound. So, what does that mean for us musicians? Our brain uses sudden crescendos in volume to interpret speech. We're going to watch a short video showing it. Look at the beginning, look for the crescendos and where the brain activates.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?
For us musicians, this means when we hear crescendos or accents at the beginning of the notes, that's what our brain's listening for. How can we use this to help musicians hear and play music clearly? Indefinite, vague, and inconsistent articulations create an unclear performance for listeners and performers. Clarity in performance comes through distinct, consistent articulations. Superior performance requires uniformity of many different types of articulations. The thing about all of this is, we've all heard bands who can play short and play long, but those bands that can do all of the articulations are the best. That's how you get a superior performance. How do we use the definition of articulation to understand it better? The definition can actually be confusing. So we're going to use a few words, antonyms, homonyms, homographs, synonyms, to help us understand it. The first is the antonym. The antonym, or the opposite of articulation, is mispronunciation. So if you're not articulating correctly, you're mispronouncing the word. Here's a great definition. Articulations are the subtle changes we make to the beginning, middle, and end of notes. Too often we think articulations are how we start a note, but it is more than that. The middle and the end are included in articulation. So why can articulations be confusing? Well, the homonym, left side, left behind, left sounds the same, but they mean two different things. Sometimes articulations are homonyms. They look the same, they sound different. Sometimes articulations are homographs, like the bass or bass. They sound different. They may smell the same, but articulations are supposed to sound different sometimes, even though they look the same. Synonyms are when you have different words that mean the same thing. I put a few words on there: band director, conductor, omnipotent, ruler. They all mean the same thing, but they are different words, aren't they? Articulations are not all the same. So let's look at a bigger definition. The three parts of articulation are the beginning, middle, and end. There aren't seven articulations. There are many articulations depending on how you play the middle and how you play the end. All of those are included in articulation if you're going to play them correctly. And if you want students to understand articulation, they need to understand what you want to do with each of those things, the beginning, middle, and end. Then they will truly understand articulation. How do you assess articulation using technology? This is the groundbreaking part of the lessons. I use apps like iRig Recorder, GarageBand, Audacity, or BandLab Each of these, you can take a screenshot of how you've played and share that with the teacher. Or you could use Pro Tools or TE Tuner. The kids just take a screenshot. I like iRig Recorder because it's free, but it organizes each of the videos or the audio recordings so you can know each one. I usually have the kids take a video and you can see the video of who did it. You could use BandLab and just take a screenshot, or you could even use Audacity. All of those things are free and they're great to use. What you should use is what you have in your program, whatever technology you have, so you can see it and your kids can do it really quickly, easily, and cheaply. So the pre-test, kids take a video or audio of it and they share that with you. Here was my pre-test in 2018. And here's my post test. This was a week later. One of my students took their articulation from this to this in a week because I taught them what all the sound waves are supposed to sound like and look like. And now they can see what they were doing and what it's supposed to look like really quickly and efficiently. If you choose to purchase these lessons, you can find them at sphereband.com. And there are 7 lessons, including the music that goes along with them. The things we teach are in lesson 1, we define articulation and we give the pretest so kids can understand the definition and play it. In lesson 2, we talk about starting notes, what syllables to use for each instrument, what the shape of the sound wave should look like. Then we talk about note lengths, what different articulations there are and how long each of them should be, and some different ways to interpret each of them, including classical releases and tongue stops, and even like staccatissimo or staccatos. In lesson 4, we apply these things into real music. In this example from Corcoran Cadets, your students will practice the bass line first and learn to play staccatos, accents, and slurs all in one exercise. They can record that and submit their sound wave also, or you can go on and have the kids learn the accompaniment. And now you add harmony to articulations and rhythm. After that, you can add the harmony part to the melody or the melody, and you can practice phrasing, harmony, articulations, rhythm, all at the same time in a progressive, easy to hard manner. Lesson 5, we teach shaping the middle of the notes. We talk about crescendos and decrescendos, forte pianos. And when your students are done with this, they can do all those shapes and do the things you've asked them to do. In lessons 6 and 7, they apply the things you have taught them to real music. Homeward Bound, also from Progressive Musical Studies, and The Thunderer. Kids can practice real music, real articulations, and know what it's really supposed to sound like with a melody. What are you supposed to bring out? What aren't you supposed to bring out? We get real music to learn these things. If you'd like to purchase these or want me to keep making stuff like this, make sure to support me by going to severeband.com and ordering them. You can use a purchase order by emailing me directly, Brian at severeband.com, or you can buy them with a credit card on my webpage. Also, check out some of the other things I have: Progressive Musical Studies, 50 excerpts of Sousa's music from grade 2 to 3 that you can teach musical style with. They're great for a flex band situation with less instrumentation or with a whole band to teach perhaps articulation, phrasing, style. Thank you for listening and check out those videos.